but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed, start to move your balls. So seek up a word in Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. Listen, a whole lot happened over the course of this weekend. Gospel star Rance Allen passed, as did Sean Connery, the original James Bond. Of course, our prayers are with their families and their fans at this time. We also saw peaceful protests this weekend over the shooting of Walter Wallace, and the Eagles, as terrible as they've been this year, did the only thing that matters to their fans. They beat the Cowboys. And even though the game was on so late that I was asleep for the last touchdown when Rodney McLeod returned a fumble, it didn't really matter to me because you know what? We beat our most hated rival. And sometimes winning has to be enough, no matter how ugly it looks. That's what I'm thinking as we approach Election Day. Whether my candidate wins by 1 vote or 1,000 votes, the only thing that matters is the win. But unlike in a football game, a win in an election can change things for everybody. It can make a difference in our lives. It can return our country to normalcy. I won't be sleeping on Election Day because I'm hoping for a new day in America. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. City Commissioner Lisa Daly answered your election questions. Lawyer and critical race theorist Dr. Tim Golden on the Justice Department dropping the Tamir Rice case without even telling the family. Senator Vincent Hughes on voting. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065, a toll-free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at onWURD. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one, the FBI said Sunday that its San Antonio office is investigating an incident after video was taken of a caravan of Trump supporters surrounding and then following and then trying to stop a campaign bus from the Biden campaign on Friday. President Trump retweeted part of the video Saturday night, writing, "I love Texas." A Biden campaign official said the incident occurred Friday on I-35 between Austin and San Antonio. The official said vehicles with Trump signs and flags surrounded the Biden bus and tried to slow the bus down and run it off the road. Law enforcement assisted the bus to its location after 911 was called. Texas House Representative Cheryl Cole tweeted the Biden bus was supposed to make a stop in Pflugerville, Texas, with the Austin Young Democrats, but she wrote they had to cancel due to security reasons. Pro-Trump protesters have escalated well beyond safe limits, she posted. She quoted a tweet from Texas House Representative Rafael Anchia, who claimed armed Trump trolls harassing Biden bus on I-35, ramming volunteer vehicles, and blocking traffic for 40 minutes. In a statement, the Biden campaign said that rather than engage in productive conversation about the drastically different visions that Joe Biden and Donald Trump have for our country, Trump supporters in Texas yesterday instead decided to put our staff, surrogate supporters, and others in harm's way. They completed it with, "We'll see you on November 3rd. We got to watch these people, man, because it for me, what I am seeing is something that has really moved beyond a political party. It's moved beyond a political opinion or stance. It's moved beyond a political movement. What it's really become is a cult. That's what it looks like to me. And I'm not trying to insult anybody, but when you have people who put giant Trump flags on their houses, when you have people who will actually surround a bus from the other campaign while they are armed, trying to stop the bus, trying to ram other vehicles, trying to engage in violence, when you have people who would storm the Michigan State House with semi-automatic rifles, who would actually plot to try to kidnap the governors of Michigan and Virginia. When you have people who engage in this kind of behavior, this is not political, this is a cult. That's what it looks like to me. It's dangerous, and it's something that America is going to have to get a handle on, because what I see is a cult leader who, if he goes down, he wants to bring everyone down with him. We cannot allow that to happen. The very first thing we have to do, the very last thing we have to do, everything in between we have to do is vote this dude out. He's got to go, because he has brought out the very worst in America. I have never seen it like this in my lifetime. You know what I mean? His rallies look like Klan rallies. The people who engaged in trying to run this bus off the road, that's cultish behavior. That's something you would see in Branch Davidian or in some other cult. Like this is not normal behavior. When you say they have moved beyond safe limits, no, they've moved to cultish behavior, and this has to stop because it endangers us all. Speaking of the law, let's talk about the Justice Department. They decided more than a year ago to effectively shut down its civil rights investigation into the high-profile killing of Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old black boy carrying a pellet gun who was shot by a Cleveland police officer in 2014, according to people familiar with the matter. Let me make it clear, it was a toy gun. He was a 12-year-old boy playing with a toy. He was not carrying a pellet gun. He was playing with a toy when police pulled up and shot him in less than 2 seconds. Language matters. Anyway, career prosecutors had asked in 2017 to use a grand jury to gather evidence in their investigation, setting off tensions inside the department in an unusual move. Department supervisors let the request language for 2 years before finally denying permission in August 2019, essentially ending the inquiry without fully conducting it. But more than a year later, the department has yet to take the steps to close the case, like completing a draft memo explaining why it declined to indict anyone, and it has not told the Rice family or the public that it will not charge the police officer. Subhad Chandra, a former federal prosecutor who's representing the Rice family, said Tamir's mother, Samaria Rice, was devastated. When she heard the news, she cried out repeatedly, "I'm not ready for this," Mr. Chandra said. The federal investigation was her last hope for justice. Accountability was so important to her and her family. The Justice Department, of course, has declined comment. But remember, Jeff Sessions was in charge at first in the Trump administration as the Attorney General, and then they moved to Bill Barr. Bill Barr, who has not necessarily been about justice. He's been about justice for Donald Trump. He's been about attacking his enemies. He's been about trying to defend him in a case where a woman accused him of rape. He called her a liar, and the woman sued for defamation of character. He's been about everything but what he's supposed to be about. Yet another reason why this administration has to change. This is crazy. I have never seen anything like this in my life. Where you see the overtly political side of the Justice Department, where you see the Justice Department really doing the president's bidding. The Justice Department, guess what? Y'all supposed to work for the people, not the president. You don't work just for Donald Trump. You work for us. And to insult this family, to hurt this family in this way, by not completing this investigation, just allowing it to go away without even informing the family of anything, is just another sign of disrespect to the black community. Which brings me to story number 3, my commentary for the day. Dear black folk, the presidential election is in your hands. But don't take my word for it. Watch what's happening with the candidates. Joe Biden was here yesterday, and Kamala Harris and her husband will be here today with John Legend. And it's all because Pennsylvania is the key to the election, and Philadelphia is the key to the state. If we turn out Obama-type numbers, The White House will flip to the Democrats, and that's why Donald Trump was here over the weekend in Bucks County. It's why he was in Reading, too. It's why he was everywhere except where he would see black folks, the people he spent the last 4 years disrespecting. But in reality, this election is not about Biden or Trump. It's about Walter Wallace being shot dead by police after his mother called for help for her mentally ill son. It's about George Floyd dying after 9 minutes under a cop's knee. It's about Breonna Taylor being killed in her own house when she didn't do anything wrong. It's about protesters who've taken to the streets to say this is no longer acceptable. We are in a fight for our lives. And if you don't believe that, ask Alton Sterling, ask Philando Castile, ask Sandra Bland, ask Eric Garner. Oh yeah, we can't ask them because they're not here anymore. So do me a favor and ask yourself if racism is worse under Trump than it was before. Ask yourself why COVID is killing black people at a higher rate than everyone else. Ask yourself if tax breaks for millionaires did anything for you. Ask yourself who's responsible for 230,000 deaths in this pandemic. And after you've answered all those questions, ask yourself if you should vote. Because if you know like I know, the answer just ought to be yes. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. It is the day before the most consequential election in our lives. Have you made your plan to vote? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. This is the biggest moment politically that I have ever seen. It even goes beyond the moment of Barack Obama actually running for president and becoming a viable candidate. You know why? Because we are in an atmosphere unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. We are in an atmosphere where you actually have people openly engaging in racist behavior because the president is giving it a wink and a nod from the White House. You have people actually targeting our community because of the leadership we have on Pennsylvania Avenue. You have people who are taking off their white hoods, putting on their khakis, putting on their polo shirt, taking out their tiki torches, and marching through Charlottesville in favor of a Confederate statue. You have people right here in Philadelphia arming themselves with bats in Fishtown, arming themselves with guns and golf clubs and other things around a Columbus statue. You have people openly engaging in racism because the leader of their, what looks like a cult to me, is encouraging them to do it. This is a moment of consequence in our community. And I need to know if you're in it. Bottom line, we all need to know. And we all need to understand what is at stake. This dude done put hundreds of federal judges on the bench, people who've never tried a case, people who aren't qualified to do that. He's put 3 Supreme Court justices on the bench. Our community is at a point where we have to fight back. We have to fight back through our vote. We have to fight back through protest. We have to fight back through holding people accountable. We have to fight back by taking over this system. And I got news for you. And I'm not mad at anybody for however they decide that they want to protest. But you know what? Looting is not fighting back. Because it doesn't change anything. We need to take the kind of actions that change this system, that change these outcomes, that change what happens for our people, that change what happens in our community, that change the future for our children. That's what we have to do. And voting is part of that. Protest is part of that. Holding people accountable is part of that. And if you don't like who's in, guess what? Run your own candidates. Put your own people in. Because this is what we have to understand. The politicians control the money, our money. When Donald Trump and his administration and Congress sent out those checks and Donald Trump signed those checks, he signed it on the left-hand side. You know why? Because that ain't his money. That's your money. You got our young people running around, Donald Trump sending us money. That's not his money. That's your money. That's the money that comes out of your paycheck. That's whose money it is. It's not him sending you anything. He wouldn't spit on you if you was on fire. You understand what I'm saying? That's your money. And politicians control it. And this is what we have to understand. Because if we want access to our money, right here in Philadelphia, it goes beyond just what happens in the White House. Right here in Philadelphia, you got people talking about they're going to spend our money to give rich folk more tax abatements, to give them another 3 years of that because they missed 3 months of it, of money, you know, under what happened with COVID. That's ridiculous. That money should be going to us. That's our money. And politics controls it. Politics controls who decides whether or not you're charged, whether or not you go to jail, how long you stay in jail. How do I know? Because the DA is elected. Because you have judges on the municipal and common police courts who are elected. You have the mayor who's elected. He decides who the police commissioner is going to be. He's elected. So all of these things that we are complaining about, all of these things that we are rightly protesting about, all of these things that we have righteous anger about, all of these things are connected to politics and your vote. Have you made a plan to vote tomorrow? I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report is sponsored by United Healthcare. Busy riding spots this morning. Southbound 95. You're going to find that heavy now Cottman down through Bridge through construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard. Northbound 95. No major issues. Westbound Vine delays 8th out through Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound jamming from University through 30th through construction. Busy again. City out to Gladwin. Eastbound 76. Busy Gladwin to Belmont. Again, Montgomery through Girard. The Boulevard Route 1 southbound looks good. Heading into the Schuylkill Expressway. PA Turnpike. Blue Route 476. Not bad. 55 north jamming. Deptford into 42. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans come with a lot to take advantage of. Visit AdvantageWell.com to learn more. That's AdvantageWell.com to learn more about United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Hello, I'm former Mayor John Street.
And I'm Mayor Street's son, Senator Sharif Street.
You know, I've been out here fighting for what's right for a long, long time, but I can't think of an election more important than the one that's happening right now.
We all know we have to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but we also have a couple of hometown heroes that we need to elect.
Nina Ahmad served as the City of Philadelphia Deputy Mayor, and it would be a welcome change to have a strong woman of color go to Harrisburg to fight for all of us.
We also have working class hero John Kane running for state senate. He's a blue collar guy ready to fight for better paying jobs and accessible health care. I'd love to have John Kane join me in the state senate.
This election is just too important. So when you go out, vote for Joe and Kamala.
Don't forget to vote for Nina Ahmad for Auditor General and John Kane for State Senator.
This message is paid for by the Friends of Sharif Street.
Let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head.
America needs a president who can handle the job. America needs Joe Biden. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it.
Paid for by Ask Me People, which is responsible for the content of this ad. AskMePeople.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County, and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice. $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com.
Right now, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. AARP Pennsylvania wants to make sure that you know all of your voting options and that all Americans can vote safely, whether they choose to vote from home or in person. To learn more about your voting options, visit aarp.org/PA Votes. Paid for by AARP.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote, to stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Remember when Trump defended neo-Nazis?
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Or downplayed the coronavirus?
It's going to disappear one day. It's like a miracle.
It's time to fire politicians who failed us and elect leaders who will fight systemic racism, have a plan to beat the coronavirus, and will address bias in our healthcare system. This election, remember whose side Trump is on, not yours. Request a ballot now. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it. Paid for by the NAACP.
You're waking up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. We are, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Tomorrow is Election Day. Have you already voted? Have you made your plan to vote? What are you going to do about this moment? Which is politically one of the most consequential moments I have ever seen. Besides the election, the actual election of Barack Obama, this is the biggest moment that we have seen. We have seen 4 years of Donald Trump, and as a black community, we have seen a rise in racism. We have seen a virus ravage this nation that has killed our folks disproportionately. We have seen police violence that kills black folks disproportionately. We have seen unemployment rates that continue to be double those of the white community. See, don't be fooled by the semantics, right? By the technical language around, oh, this is the best we've ever done for black people. Well, you know what? Our unemployment rate is still consistently twice that of the white unemployment rate. So yeah, you've continued to engage in racism. That's what has continued to happen. And so don't be fooled by this, oh, I'm the best president for black people since Abraham Lincoln. No, dude, you ain't did nothing for us. You let a couple of people out of jail. That's what you did. But we are so much bigger than who's in jail. Because guess what? Most of us are not. What have you done for those of us who aren't in jail? What have you done for those of us who aren't on the margin? What have you done for those of us who go to work every day, who pay our taxes, who pay our bills, who participate in this society other than disrespect us? You know, when you're running around saying to the black community, what do you have to lose? You have no jobs. Wait a minute. Yes, we do. Right? You know, you live in poverty. You dodging bullets. Like, wait, who are you talking about? Is that the black people you seen on TV? Because guess what? The vast majority of us are living normal lives. And as for me, you know, all I want is the same thing everybody else has, the opportunity to rise. Right? The respect to be treated the same as everyone else when we have encounters with any agent of our government, from the police on down. You know, the opportunity to live where I want without harassment. The opportunity to go where I want without harassment. I want to live a life without racism. That's what I want. And it's an insult when you say to us that we all live in poverty, we all don't have jobs, you know, our education system is a mess. Well, guess what? That's not the same experience in every black community. What are you talking about? Something you've seen on a movie? What is your plan to vote? I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. Miss Mary from Winfield is on line 1. Good morning, Miss Mary.
And good morning, Solomon. Good morning, Word family. And thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
You are so on point this morning. I just pray, and that's what I've been preaching since I've been back to work to young people. Just what you're saying. 2 of them came back to me and said they were voting tomorrow, and they were voting for the Biden-Harris ticket.
Okay.
At least I know I'm trying from my end. Understand? Because I told him, I said, Google everything. Go back in your history and look at this. Because one of them said, well, you know, I followed Bernie Sanders. I said, that's out. You can forget that. That ain't going to happen. So leave that alone, you know. But I also, as I said, wanted to say thank you and thank you to Word. But I have a question if you could answer me.
Sure.
Where the H-E double hockey stick is William Barr? He is so quiet.
Isn't he?
You don't hear nothing from him.
Isn't he? Well, you don't hear nothing from him because he's too busy killing the investigation into Tamir Rice.
Well, true.
You know, that's one of the stories we're talking about today, that they quietly killed that investigation and didn't even tell the family.
Yes. I mean, and if people can't see today, the day before election, what we're up against, and I'm not talking color, I'm talking people.
Yeah.
Because this monkey, I sat on the side of the bed this morning after prayer and said, he doesn't care if he has people. If this whole country just went to rubble as long as I'm in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if anybody want any history on him, go back to your apprentice. Fired everybody. Anybody. But I thank you again, son. Stay well. I pray that your family's well. I pray that Coasa's family is well. And we're going to get through this on the other side of through, and we're going to have a new president. Thanks.
How about that? All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Jacob from Olney on line 2. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, good morning, brother. My brother, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm stressed, but I know I'm blessed. But you know what? I heard that gospel music lost one of the greatest gospel singers of my time, Reverend Rance Allen.
Yep.
I heard he passed, man. You know that you talking about sing, brother. That brother sent. So may God be with him and his family in his struggle to just, deliver a message. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But you know what, Solomon? We right here now. It's here now. I voted, man, the day after I received my ballot. I hand delivered it to the Leocora Center, right? Because I know how serious, like you said.
Yeah.
This is how could it even think to be bigger than when we voted for the first black president?
Yeah.
But in the way it is,
Yeah.
You know what gets me, Solomon? First of all, we know that the hoods of the Ku Klux Klan has been exchanged for the mega hat, right? Mm-hmm. And it kills me to see some black people wearing the mega hat. It just befuddles me. But what gets me is the black men that I hear that go out here and tell us we don't have to vote for this white racist system. I ain't got nothing to do with that, and then turn around and tell me that I got to respect my ancestors, right? And I ask myself the question, what would Caddo, Lewis, Evers, King, et cetera, what would they think about me that I let them sacrifice their lives and I sit on my butt doing nothing but talking?
How about
what I'm saying? Thank you, Solomon.
Thank you. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Malik from Mount Airy on line 3. Go ahead, Malik.
Good morning. I was telling my wife, I'm not going. Now hear me out. I'm not going to vote. I'm gonna put my ballot in the box and let them count it that way. So I'm already geared up for that. But
then you are going to vote.
Yeah. I'm not doing.
You gonna put it in the drop box?
Yeah. I guess. Okay. I didn't. I'm guess I'm saying it the wrong way, but I do plan to let my voice be heard in some words. Mm-hmm. So if we don't see what's going on, if we don't, it's kind of like Malcolm X said, it's the ballot or the bullet. I mean, if you don't see that times are not going to get better if you don't put your ballot out there, and you can sit on the sideline and complain all you want, but if you're not part of the solution, you're sitting there being part of the problem. Yep. No matter how you put it, you can say, oh, well, it's a racist system, but your vote is how you change that racist system. Change the House, change the Senate, change the people who sit in these offices. That is how you do these things. Like you said earlier, the judges are elected, the senators are elected, the representatives are elected. That's what your vote goes to initially, not just the president. And a lot of people don't understand it. They just think, oh, I'm going to vote once every 4 years. No, that's why you dealing with the stuff you're dealing with on a daily basis. Change your mind, educate yourself, and you will win the situations you want to win. And we got to go one by one, knock these racist systems down one by one till we get change we really need and we want. Now, we're not going to get reparations tomorrow, but it may come in the future if you do what we need to do. I thank you. Have a great day.
I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Joyce from Winfield on line 4. Go ahead, Joyce.
Hey, everybody. Hi. I just wanted to say that we as black folks have to get out and vote. How Philly votes goes the state, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it seems like whoever wins has to get Pennsylvania to win. So we black folks got to save America and get out and vote. I went out and voted already weeks ago. I've done that. And it's just black folks, we got to get out there and vote. We got to save America to do this. Thank you.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. I want y'all to think about something. Donald Trump won Pennsylvania by 44,000 votes last time. That's less than the number of people who live in a 10-block radius in Philadelphia. 10 blocks worth of Philadelphians, if they would have voted, guess what? I'm sorry, 10 square mile radius, right? So, we really do control what happens in this state. What happened last time, and we voted in big numbers. We need Obama numbers. That's what we need. I'm going to be honest with you, because all those little towns outside of Philadelphia, all those little towns in the rural parts of Pennsylvania, guess what? Those folks heard the dog whistle They heard Make America Great Again, and they heard it just like I did, Make America White Again, and they came out of their little houses and in all of these little rural towns and counties that you ain't never heard of in Pennsylvania, those places where they still flying the Confederate flag, they came out and they voted. And all those little counties with those little bit of people, all those little numbers added up, because these are people who had never heard anybody openly run on racism before, since George Wallace. They hadn't heard it since like the 60s and they hadn't heard it in a long time. That's what they had been waiting to hear, and they came out and they voted. In all those little rural counties where you got 10 people in a house, whatever, they came out and they voted. While we sat and complained. We can't afford that this time. Because the dude, he showed you what it is he's about. He's about racism. And so, are we really going to sit here and just allow that to happen? Are we going to listen to people online who they talking that jailhouse mess? Like, they sound smart, but really, you don't know a whole lot. Right? Like, nah. We have to make sure that we understand that this is not the end all and be all. This is not the thing that's going to grant us freedom. This is not the thing that's going to overturn the system, but it will change the atmosphere. It will put someone in that we can hold accountable. It will give us somebody that we can actually work with to make these things happen. Donald Trump trying to buy you off, wait a minute, with money that ain't even his. Yeah, put my name on the check. The check ain't from you. That ain't your money. That's why your name is on the left-hand side. When you endorse a check, it's on the right-hand side, right? A president can't endorse a check. That check is not from him. That's from you. That's your own money, and it's yet another con game with a con man telling you, oh, this from me. No, it's not. No, it's not. We have to understand that. And we have to move beyond the moment and go into a movement. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD Radio. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by United Healthcare. Some busy spots southbound 95. That's a jam ride from Cottman Avenue down through Bridge through construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard northbound, still not bad. Westbound Vine Expressway delays out the 8th out through Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound. You're at a jam University through 30th through construction. Eastbound side delays 202 to Gulf Mills. Busy Gladwin to Belmont. Again, Montgomery through Girard. PA Turnpike. Blue Route 476. Not bad. Kelly Drive between Hunting Park Avenue and the Boulevard Route 1 down tree there. 55 northbound. You're jammed Deptford into 42. This report again is sponsored by United Healthcare. Medicare Advantage plans come with a lot to take advantage of. Visit AdvantageWell.com to learn more. That's AdvantageWell.com to learn more about United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I'm Ryan M. Boyer, the business manager of Labor's District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity. This is the most important and crucial election of our lifetime. We need you to help us to win this election in Pennsylvania.
You can make change. Your change, your vote, it counts.
That's our power. Our power is in our voice. Our power is in our vote. The challenge has been issued. What are you going to do about it?
Paid for by the Labor's District Council PAC Fund.
Everyone has a different journey to their vote, but we all take the same steps. If you want to vote, register by October 19th. If you want to vote by mail, apply now and mail your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. Or bring it to a satellite election office. If you want to vote in person, go to your polling location on November 3rd. However you want to vote, we'll help you find the way. Visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
As our nation battles a pandemic and economic downturn, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on issues that matter to you, and AARP Pennsylvania is here to help. We want to make sure that you know all of your voting options and that all Americans, from working parents to family caregivers to seniors in nursing homes, can vote safely whether they choose to vote from home or in person. To learn more about how AARP Pennsylvania is fighting to protect voters 50 plus and how to make your voice heard this November, visit aarp.org/PA votes. Paid for by AARP.
New Voices for Reproductive Justice is registering Black women and their families in Philly to vote. The general election is on November 3rd. You can register to vote online at rock.vote/New Voices. That's rock.vote/New Voices. The deadline to register is October 19th. If you need assistance registering to vote, visit newvoicesrj.org.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Many of us have heard this term before, but may not know what it really means. Compassionate living brings mindfulness and peace to the center of your daily life. Compassionate living can look like this. Number 1, be gentle with yourself and those around you. Number 2, choose to speak kindly to others, even when you're upset. Number 3, become a good listener and practice empathy at home and at work. We sometimes think in order to live with compassion, we have to become someone else. Not so. In fact, allowing peacefulness to be at the center of our daily interactions is something we can practice every day. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com.
Hi, I'm Kiera Bradford Gray, the Chief Defender of the Defender Association of Philadelphia. I've spent my career helping to reform our criminal justice system by advancing client-centered representation that empowers our communities to be stronger and safer. Our communities are still over-policed and under-resourced. This year, accountability is on the ballot, and we can finally have the community police oversight that we desperately need.
Paid for by Black Vote PA, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.theelectionisnow.com.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. Tomorrow is Election Day. Have you made your plan to vote? Have you voted already? Have you convinced someone else to vote? Because guess what? This is beyond just whether or not you vote. This is about making sure that everyone in your community votes. And I need to say this. People who have gone to jail, have come home, have done their time in Pennsylvania, you can vote. You can vote. And a lot of our folks don't know that. Right? They think that the laws that apply in other states apply here. Well, no. Pennsylvania, if you've gone to jail, you've done your time, you can vote. Right? And so if you are registered at this point, because October 19th was the deadline for registration, you can vote. You can vote. And so we need our folks to know that, to understand that, to engage in that, and to do everything that they can to make sure that they use the power of our community to move us forward. Now, voting is not the end-all and be-all. I've learned that, right? There is also protest. There is also accountability. There is also challenging those who are there to represent you, because they're not there to represent themselves. They're there to represent the people, right? And so this whole thing that we are seeing, this cultish behavior around Donald Trump, it's disturbing, right? But the way that we fight against that is that we unite. Right? Across our interests, across our race, across our ethnicity, across our religion, across all of these lines that we've drawn between each other, and we find our common interests, unite behind that, and move forward. I want to hear from you. What is your plan? What are you going to do about voting? Jim from West Philly is on line 1. Go ahead, Jim.
Yes, Solomon. What my plan is, I'm going to be there about 15 minutes to 7 tomorrow morning, right in front of Evans Recreation Center, 53rd and Parkside.
Okay.
Because I can't wait to push that button. Pushing that button tomorrow is going to be like punching Donald in the face. I mean, your vote is your power.
Yeah.
And everybody can have it. I don't care how much money you got, how much money you ain't got. It don't cost nothing to vote. It don't cost nothing to register. And there are enough people registered that they can vote. It's just get up, go out the door, hit the button. That's the only power you have now. So, and I can't understand anybody that's listening to WURD that wouldn't go and vote. I mean, why you turn the station on? Why are you listening to Solomon? Why are you listening to all of this if you got to have a thought about voting? That shouldn't even be a thought. It should be, I can't wait, because I can't wait till November 4th when the headline on the paper reads, Donald, you're fired. I'm voting. Are you?
I hear you, man. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. I hope somebody's listening that's not sure they're going to vote. Because I'm going to make the argument for why you should. You should vote because Eric Garner can't. You should vote because Walter Wallace Jr. can't. You should vote because Alton Sterling and Philando Castile and Sandra Boyd and so many others, Sandra Bland rather, and so many others can't. That's why you should vote. You know, we can't just be out in the street protesting. You know, one of the things that really disturbed me, and I didn't think it would, but one of the things that really disturbed me last time around was the day after election when you had all of these people pouring out in the street to protest. What are you doing? Your day to protest was the day before when it was time to vote. That was your day to protest. Don't go out, because I knew that many of the folks that are in the street protesting after the vote, y'all ain't vote anyway. You're the reason why he's in there. You're the reason why you're protesting. You should be protesting yourself because you allowed that to happen by not voting. That just, it irked me. You know what I mean? Because I'm looking at him, I know half of y'all ain't even vote. Why are you in the street protesting now? Shut up, because you shut up yesterday when it's time to vote. So shut up now. You know, we don't want to be in that position, right, where we feel like we haven't done everything we could for the freedom of our community. Because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of folks came out and voted early. A lot of people voted early. I voted early, right? But on election day, you're going to have a whole lot of people who have the opposite point of view. Oh, they're going to be lined up to vote. All of those people in those little rural places, those little counties you ain't never heard of, right? Those places in the hills, like all of those people are going to come out and vote. Are you? Let's go to Dennis from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Dennis.
Solomon, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Yeah, and everyone. I intend to take 5 people to the voting polls tomorrow.
There you go.
And more if I can.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I was in Salem. You know, I was driving through there with my wife, and I began to notice some protesters. And they had Trump posters, their flags, stickers. But I noticed, when I looked further in the crowd, that there were Confederate flags.
Mm-hmm.
And I was too done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's out now.
Oh, yeah.
It's official.
Oh, yeah.
That the Trump administration is definitely racist. And so I'm going to make my vote count. And thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. I appreciate your call this morning. Let's go to Wes from Mount Airy on line 3. Go ahead, Wes.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
I've already voted. I voted weeks ago. For me, I have to say the election is the election. I'm actually looking past the election. For me, this whole year, I feel like I've aged 5 years in this whole year. For me, coronavirus has exposed everything. It has really teached a lot of people politically how important federal elections and local elections are. Yeah. Because the mistake that people keep saying that I hear people say, forget federal, focus on local. But when you have a Fed that's not trying to give money to the states, and the states in the state's budget, they can't fulfill their budget, what do? They cut services. So you start to see how one helps the other. Yes, the vote in terms of local is an issue because it's felt because there's people around you. But I also had looked at this year as really understanding and really talking to people how things are and how things are together and how things relate to each other. If you don't handle your local business, you don't handle the police business. If you don't handle the federal business, you can't make sure your state have money. But when a pandemic comes into play and people need funds, that you don't have to force people to go out and work in these dangerous times. Or if you don't educate people enough, something as simple as a mask will prevent their life. But then people are so caught on this individualism is patriotic that you want to sit there and expose other people and yourself to the situation. Yeah. So for me, I agree with you and I understand what you're saying. But for me, past this point, I have to say I have reevaluated allies and enemies, because people who I looked at as so-called allies in this time of need has not been allies, and it really has awakened me and people around me that when it comes accordingly, whoever is in office, we're going to move in a different way.
I hear you, Wes, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Rebecca from Springfield on line 4. Go ahead, Rebecca.
All right. Good morning, Solomon. I'm so glad you're sounding great.
Thank you.
And I'm praying for you. I thought it was a gift from God that we had early voting, because I feel like an adult as a senior that they had a chance to get out and go out early. Because one thing I think about is on the 3rd to be out of harm's way, because they're saying that things might happen. So the Lord allowed us to we'd never had early voting before, so this is something that was a plus. And what hurt me so is I found out a black man that I know that I thought was a strong man, a strong black man, he was voting for Trump. And what I realized is that when people have a few dollars, they're thinking about the tax part. But guess what? They're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about the whole, all the things that Trump has done. It's like they forgot about that. So that was just terrible. It hurt me so bad to see that. But Biden was at our church yesterday. I go to Sharon in the back, outside. But it was nice, and so I just praise God. But I'm just praying that everything goes well. But we need to think about the whole and not just themselves, and that's what people I find are doing. So have a great day.
All right, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Ask the couple in Chad's Ford. Husband was the president of a pharmaceutical company, was returning from an assignment overseas. He had been gone for a little bit, to his $1 million house in Chad's Ford, Pennsylvania. And he gets stopped by a state trooper who harasses him and his family to the point where his wife and his daughter can't even talk about it without crying. He got $1 million home. President of a pharmaceutical company, has lived his life by the rules that our society lays out and has been successful in doing it. Right? But he comes back and gets stopped by a 20-something year-old state trooper who didn't think he belonged in that community where he lives, where he invested his money that he earned honestly in pharmaceuticals. Ask him if his money insulated him from that. Rebecca's right. We have to see beyond just money, because too many of us believe that money will insulate us from the reality of being black in America. And today, in this atmosphere, it will not. We have to work together. We're going to go to break. On the other side, I got a question for y'all. I asked you last week about James Evans versus George Jefferson. Well, guess what? The Black Dad Olympic continues. James Evans ran away with it last week. I got 2 more for you this week. Stay tuned. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
The pandemic is not only putting everyone's health at risk, it's also impacted our jobs and retirement security. And it's disproportionately affecting African Americans, especially those 50 plus. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. And if you choose to vote by mail, make sure you return your ballot using both envelopes. Your ballot goes in the smaller envelope for secrecy, and that goes into the larger envelope for mailing. Also, don't forget to sign the voter declaration on the back. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/PA-votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/PA-votes today. Paid for by AARP.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
What's up, everyone? I know you know the word, no, not the station, but this word, J-O-B that is, and our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour work day, kind of work people more than 8 hours without overtime, kind of work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
During this pivotal election season, your friends at Power Interfaith and Black Clergy of Philadelphia and vicinity want to make sure that no vote is left behind. So if you need a free ride to your polling place, call 844-769-3788. That's 844-POWER-VT. Whether you need to drop off your ballot or vote in person, they'll provide you a clean, safe, and free ride. Just call 844-769-3788. That's 844-POWER-VT. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
Keeping you informed about Tuesday's election. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, and watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
Backed by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. Tomorrow is Election Day. Do you have your plan to vote? Did you already vote? Are you taking other people to vote? I want to hear from you about that. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. So last week we started also the Black TV Dad Olympics, right? So our first two contestants were James Evans and George Jefferson. And the question was, you know, who was the ultimate black dad on TV? And James Evans won it running away. George Jefferson got 2 votes. One of those was on Facebook. So, I mean, James Evans killed it last week. And so I'm going to give you 2 more, right? I'm going to give you 2 more, and they are Uncle Phil and Heathcliff Huxtable. Is it Uncle Phil or is it Dr. Huxtable? Now, I don't know. Is it too soon to put Cliff Huxtable in the Black Dad Olympics? I don't know. I want to hear from you. Best black dad on TV, Heathcliff Huxtable or Uncle Phil? I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Let's go to Arnetta from North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Arnetta.
Yes, good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
2 questions for those of you who don't know me. Yes, I voted, and yes, I have been a business person.
All right, now.
So I'm going to go from there. I understand that we can't have destruction of businesses. We can't have destruction of people either. So my question is this. On Friday, I left prayer service and rode through Center City. I saw a National Guard, which I expected. What I didn't expect was for some of the National Guard to be standing there with machine guns and their finger on the trigger. So if the city or the government or whoever felt that it was necessary for them to bring the National Guard in to protect businesses, then my next question is this. Anyone who's been paying attention to the news like I have, we understand that Pennsylvania is a very important state, very relevant at this time.
Yes.
Also under the threat of violence. So my question to the powers that be, if you felt that it was necessary to bring the National Guard in on the level that you did to protect the businesses in Center City, are you also going to have to them here to protect the citizens like myself who pay the National Guard to pay for protection so that people do not have to be concerned with the threat of violence, and nor do they have to feel that protect their own self and their family when going out to vote, that perhaps they should take a weapon. Most men want to defend not only themselves, but their wives and their children. So if it's irrelevant to bring in the National Guard to protect property, is it relevant to keep the National Guard here or bring them back out of the barracks and have them create a safe environment for people to vote?
Arnetta, I want to thank you so much for your call. It's so great hearing from you. We appreciate it. And I think that the National Guard are going to be here through Election Day. And so we'll see, you know, what that looks like. But I hear your question, and I think it's a relevant one. And we'll see. Let's go to Derek from North Philly on line 3. Go ahead, Derek.
Good morning, Solomon. Love, peace, blessing, and prosperity unto you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Solomon, thank you. Solomon, I hear you you working hard, my brother, to try to stimulate and motivate the people, and I appreciate your work. And in return, I feel like my work is to encourage you when I can and support you when I can. Mm-hmm. That being said, I'm looking forward to putting the body on on the election date, November the 3rd. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this. I know about mail-in ballots and things like that. That's fine for some people, but for me, I want to stand in line. For me, I want to feel the atmosphere of the people that I think is going to generate energy from our ancestors for the fact that we're out there representing ourselves and our families, and we're representing them. So my dream is been to look forward to November the 3rd so I could put a body on it. Also, that's pretty tough for me to choose between last week between George Jefferson and James Amos, because I truly benefited from both of those men. That's just my opinion. It would be tough for me to choose between W.E.B. Du Bois and George Washington. I mean, not George Washington.
Booker T. Washington.
Booker T. Washington, yes. It would be difficult, but I sort of went more with Booker T. Washington. I sort of went more with George Jefferson, and I'm sort of going with Dr. Huxtable.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. So that's one for Dr. Huxtable. We looking at Dr. Huxtable versus Uncle Phil. We talking about ultimate black dads on TV. Dr. Huxtable versus Uncle Phil. These two are up today. Last week we had a winner in James Evans. He ran away with it. But today it's between Dr. Huxtable and Uncle Phil. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. Renee from West Oak Lane is on line 4. Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
From West Oak Lane, not from Logan. I saw what happened Friday, but it was like a mix-up. But
That's
anyway,
all right. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to speak about the rappers like Lil Wayne. I'm not trying to bash my brothers and sisters. Like you said, it's the last thing black people need. But I just don't agree with Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, and Ice Cream. I know that they're millionaires and it's concerned about their finance. But do they really think that this president has their best interest? And this president stated that black life is a hate group. And when you ask him about his comment on racism, he said he's seen good on both sides. How do you see good on white racism or neo-Nazis? Neo-Nazi purpose is to kill blacks and Jews and to instigate our communities and our families. Now, I want to get into a thing of this guy by the name of John Fitzgerald Johnson. He have a coalition called I'm Not Effing Around Coalition. It's an all-black-based Atlanta group marching for constitutional rights. They supposed to be there to alleviate racial tension against blacks. Like we have the white malicious groups instigating our protesters. They coming in dressed in black with backpacks and bricks and tools to destroy buildings and stuff like that to instigate our protest. Like you said, Solomon, how you stood by your son when he was protesting, that's what this coalition is, something on that order. Now, so far as voting, yes, I think you do better get out there. I know you better get out there and vote, because we get another 4 years of this man, it might be the end of the world. So I just wanted to put that out there.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. If you want to get in, it is 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in. You can also, of course, weigh in on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD, and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. So we got a number of responses on Facebook. Sandra Field says this, but a police escort of Trump supporters drove through a section of Fort Worth, Texas to intimidate black voters. Talking about that whole Texas incident where you had a bunch of Trump supporters in pickups and Trump flags and guns, apparently surrounding a Biden bus that was riding through from Austin to another part of Texas. Power Lunch International says vote because our hope is depending on it. And you got, let's see, Mike Jackson, who says this: young people need to understand that it's their money they also need to understand that his federal government has only sent them $1,200 in the last 8 months. That's only roughly about $150 per month. In other words, he has done nothing for you. Wake up. Geraldine Mayfield says this: do your research. The racism was the Republicans when they don't pass bills that will help everyone. So that's what she says. And then you got Shalada C.A. Sankofa, which says, good morning, blessings, Brother Solomon, Sister Kwesa, Word family, fans, listeners, etc. Stay healthy and stay safe when you vote tomorrow. Much love and respect, Ashe. So we appreciate that. Let's go back to the phone lines. Brother Gary from Chester is on line 1. Go ahead, Brother Gary.
Solomon Joe, thanks for taking my call. Solomon Joe, I'm praying for your health and your family, Solomon.
Thank you.
Solomon, I'm going to the polls tomorrow, Solomon, and now I'm gonna have something in my pocket, Solomon. I ain't gonna have no gun, but I have something in my pocket. I just hope nobody don't fall on it. That's all. I'm coming in to vote. That's all I come to do. Just don't fall on it. That's all I'm asking.
I hear you. I know that's right.
But Solomon, here's my question, Solomon. How did we get to this?
Yeah. I think that we did not take the last election as seriously as we should have. And we didn't take Donald Trump as seriously as we should have. We looked at him and, everybody was laughing. Everybody thought it was a joke. He didn't even think he was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have to take it seriously, no matter who it is. We have to take it seriously. That's the lesson that we learned, and that's how we got here. We did not take it seriously.
Thanks for taking my call.
All right, man. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Andrew from Philly is online too. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey there. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just, this whole thing is crazy. I've been in a dozen different cities around the area. I'll be in Washington on election night, and it just feels crazy. Both sides, every election year it feels like both sides want to win, and this year it feels like both sides are not going to lose, and tensions are just very high. But I just want everybody to get out and vote. Just go vote. No matter who you're voting for, just go vote. And whoever wins, hopefully, they win big.
All right. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio, and I appreciate that. It is. There is a lot of tension, and I think that we have to stay focused. We have to stay focused on what we have to do. Democracy literally means one man, one vote, right? One person, one vote. What it means is that your power in a democracy is your one vote. So make sure you get out and do that. Do your one vote, right? And if you can, make sure that other folks vote, right? So that we can move beyond this craziness. So let's go to Mike from North Philly on line 3. Go ahead, Mike.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing today, good brother?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Listen, to answer Gary's question, is how we get here. We've always been here. It just went under the surface. These people, 40 to 45% of this country, are staunch racists, and they have no problem with showing you right now who they are. When you see them chasing the Biden bus down the highway, what is that? Where were the police at? Where were the FBI people or whatever? Secret Service. Where were they at? We have.
Well, Biden wasn't on the bus. That's why you didn't have any Secret Service.
Yeah.
Neither he nor Kamala Harris were on the bus.
But that's a bad look.
It is a bad look.
This is terrible. And all these countries, I sit back sometimes, they just be laughing at us. Look at America with 3 Ks. This is what they represent. And my pick is, you got to go with Heathcliff Huxtable.
Yeah.
He showed us something different, something we've never seen before, and he was hilarious.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking my call.
All right, man. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Dom from West Philly on line 4. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Don. How you doing?
Great. On one of the issues that we discussed last week about the police training, there's no way I think there should be a class action suit against the police force. For the last 30 years, they've been trained to shoot somebody in the center of their chest with a minimum of 4 to 8 rounds. This is their training, using hollow point bullets So that's why you see people get shot. That's why they drop, because of the impact of just one of those. The whole training in the police force around this nation is really executing people. They've been trained to shoot you in your chest, not one time, but a minimum 4 to 8 times to the center of your chest. So
Is that right?
nobody's going to survive that. So there should be some lawyers or the ACL file class action suit against the police department. Because all they're really doing is executing. One hollow point bullet can pop a big hole into you. But they've been trained to shoot 4 to 8 rounds in the center of somebody's chest. And 2, if you look at the founders of this country, if you take away the racism, their biggest fear, that's why they try to put balance in some power in the people, and that's the power of the vote. Because there's always a possibility that some type of terror type of government may rise up. So people get out there and vote. That's why they had a trial by jury, and one jury can nullify a conviction if you have some type of political shenanigans go on. And 3, we fail to realize the power of the independent press. The independent press wasn't created to tell us weather reports and give us crime statistics. It was meant to be the watchdog of the people, man. It was meant to be the watchdog of the people.
What was meant to be the watchdog of the people?
That's right, and that's why I keep pushing.
Oh, what was? I didn't hear what you said. What was meant to be the watchdog of the people?
The freedom of the press. They're supposed to watch politicians. And like that's why I said we need our own black. Like this station here is doing a wonderful job, but until we get our own black CNN and like that to find out what's really going on, keep an eye on these black Democrats right here in Philadelphia. Because you know the media here goes along with the Democratic Party. It's obvious. There's a lot of things going on that's not being reported to us. And we got 3. Don't forget, they put in there the right to bear arms. And we have to, all black folks have to learn how to bear arms.
I hear you, man, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. We got to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk about the election with City Commissioner Lisa Dealey on the other side of this break. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by United Healthcare. Delays heavy southbound 95. You're jammed from Cottman Avenue down through Bridge, through construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard. Northbound not bad. Westbound Vine heavy 95 right up through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound, you're going to find that jam from University through 30th through Work. Again, City out to Belmont. Eastbound delays. Blue Route to Belmont. Again, the Boulevard in through Girard. 55 northbound. That's a jam from Deptford into 42. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans come with a lot to take advantage of. Visit AdvantageWow.com to learn more. That's AdvantageWow.com to learn more about United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
The pandemic is not only putting everyone's health at risk, it's also impacted our jobs and retirement security. And it's disproportionately affecting African Americans, especially those 50 plus. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. And if you choose to vote by mail, make sure you return your ballot using both envelopes. Your ballot goes in the smaller envelope for secrecy, and that goes into the larger envelope for mailing. Also, don't forget to sign the voter declaration on the back. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/PA votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/PA votes today. Paid for by AARP.
At PICO, we know one thing is certain. Times have changed. From kitchen classrooms to couch conference calls, searching for a new job, or new ways to keep your family connected. These changes have become a part of our reality. That's why our teams are working 24/7 to meet the needs of our communities. So no matter how much things change, you can depend on PICO to be there with the energy and help you need to power through. Learn more at pico.com.
We've all heard it, that friend or relative who doesn't vote because they say the system is fixed or that it doesn't matter. They don't care that people have died to secure the right to vote. They don't care that the politicians we elect through voting determine everything from how much money your kid's school will get to how much you pay in taxes, from how clean the air you breathe and the water you drink are, to the policies that govern the police that are supposed to protect you, whether working class families can pay their bills, whether you'll have access to funding to build a business, and how labor unions can protect the rights of their members. If these aren't enough reasons to get out and vote, then think about this. If your vote is so meaningless, why are there people out there trying to keep you from casting it? But seriously, if the past 3.5 years haven't convinced you how important it is to vote, then nothing I say, nothing you hear will convince you. So just vote. You can do it through early or mail-in ballots, or you can do it on November the 3rd. But just do it. This message is brought to you by the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, Philadelphia chapter.
Everyone has a different journey to their vote, but we all take the same steps. If you want to vote, register by October 19th. If you want to vote by mail, apply now and mail your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. Or bring it to a satellite election office. If you want to vote in person, go to your polling location on November 3rd. However you want to vote, we'll help you find the way. Visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Hello, my name is Hassan Bennett. I did 13 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. Over-policing in our community has led to over 100 casualties like mine. It's time we, the people, take control of our future. And we do this on November 3rd by voting to make communities safer and the system fairer.
Paid for by Black Vote PA, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.theelectionisnow.com.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I'm going to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. And as we await our next guest, we're going to take your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. We're talking about a number of things. One, it is the day before Election Day. Have you already voted? Do you have your plan to vote? Are you taking other people to vote? I want to hear from you. This could be the most consequential election of our lifetimes. I remember when Obama was running, and when he became a serious candidate, I did something I had never done before. I went and I volunteered for his campaign. I made phone calls. I knocked on doors. I handed out literature. It's something I haven't done before or since. And that was of great consequence, because what that election let us know is that a black man could become president of the United States. It let us know that there were no limits for us. Unfortunately, it also let racists know that as well, and that's what made Donald Trump possible. All the little people in these little towns, these towns that you've never heard of in Pennsylvania, came out of their houses, came out of the hills, came out of all of the places where they live and work, and they voted. And so they voted, and Donald Trump won Pennsylvania and some other states. It was just a few thousand votes that he won by. But what we have to understand is that the presidential election is a state-by-state election. We in Philadelphia have to win this state, or we get 4 more years of this. I mean, it really is the bottom line. Do you want that? Do you want people flying Confederate flags? Do you want people engaging in racism? Do you want people killing black folks? Do you want unequal justice under the law? If that's what you want, then don't vote. You know what I mean? It really is that simple. But if you want a future that really is a future that is about what this country claims it is about, right? Which is equality, which is justice, right? Which is the rule of law, just laws, right? If that's what you want, then you need to go out and vote, and you need to convince other people to vote. So we're talking about voting today, but we're also talking about some other things as well. Last week we started the Black Dad Olympics, right? So we started with 2 contestants. We had James Evans versus George Jefferson. James Evans ran away with it, right? So this week it is 2 more. It's Dr. Huxtable versus Uncle Phil. What do you think? Dr. Huxtable or Uncle Phil? Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Elaine from West Philly on line 1. Good morning.
Good morning. I want to go with Dr. Huxtable.
Okay.
It's sometimes we don't look at how families, black families, really have gone to school for what they need, and they're teaching their children the same thing. We have that today, but it's just like we don't talk about it, though. So I like Dr. Huxtable. We are doctors. We're lawyers, and the children, they come from families that really will go up same day, and I think about how with Dr. Huxtable, when his son was killed, nobody said nothing. They looked, nobody protested about it. And it makes me kind of like sad. And they talk about and I listen to various stations only because I want to in the know. And they talk about the thing now. It's like they want people to vote that's anti-abortion. I said, but they don't look at the fact that the stem cells comes from the embryo. Where they get that from? Except for babies that died. So they're going to get that, but that's okay, So, and then the other thing is that, well, we won't because Donald Trump gave us some money. He ain't give them nothing because, first of all, the money they got is from your tax dollars that you paid. Right. Trump ain't paid nothing. How he ain't going in his pocket to give you anything? When he had his casinos, he didn't want black people to handle the money. And this is just not stuff that you think or you heard. But it's just stuff that, the people that work there, that they know. And they said, you want us to handle the money. And talking about make America great again, we was coming up, and I'm from the South. And when we moved from one part of Virginia up to another part of Virginia, they didn't want black people to live in neighborhoods that had white people in them. No dinkies allowed, little signs in the yard. I seen this, I lived through it. And I told my mother, I said, why is this? But yet and still they go to church every Sunday. And I don't know who they praying to. But the show ain't the God that we pray to. And then they talk about, we don't want you to have abortions. They don't want you to have abortions, not for us. They kill us. But the thing is, you sit up there and also don't have an abortion, but it's because we're becoming the majority and they're becoming the minority. No, they wouldn't care if we had abortions all day long. You know, so don't tell me this. You know, so and then people tell me, and I've got a professional person that does hair. I think, and they're telling me, well, I don't believe people say, and I'm voting for the person that's against abortion. Like,
I hear you. We got to move on, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We got to talk about the election. Tomorrow is Election Day in the state of Pennsylvania. People still have a whole lot of questions. It's our first time really using mail-in ballots universally in the state of Pennsylvania. And so joining us to talk about that is Commissioner Lisa Daly. She's one of the 3 city commissioners running the election here in Philadelphia. Commissioner Daly, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Getting ready for a big election day tomorrow.
Yep, it is a huge election day tomorrow. So some of the questions folks have are around mail-in ballots. So suppose you got a mail-in ballot, you mailed it in, you never got a confirmation by email. What do you do?
Well, you can give us a call, and we can check it out on the back end. If you've never got your mail-in ballot and you feel as though you want to get your vote in, you can go to the polls on Election Day. You will be asked to vote a provisional ballot if we have you marked as a mail-in voter. If not, you'll be able to vote on the voting machine.
Okay, so if you didn't get your mail-in ballot yet, and you want to vote in person, you come in and you say what on Election Day?
You just go in to register at the table as you normally would, and the poll worker will look up your name, and the book will indicate whether we already have your mail-in vote, in which case you'll have to vote provisionally if we already have you recorded as a mail-in voter, and if not, you can vote on the voting machine. But rest assured, even if you're a provisional voter, we're only going to count one vote. So, take the time and make sure your voice is heard.
Okay. Now, on Election Day, who are poll watchers? How do we know they're poll watchers? And what are they allowed to do?
So poll watchers are authorized by us, and they are there for candidates and committees to facilitate the vote and to, work on behalf of whoever they're watching for. They are allowed to be in the polling location under tight provisions that are maintained by the Judge of Elections. So the Judge of Elections can ask to see the watcher certificate to make sure that the person is, in fact, a duly appointed watcher. They are not allowed to interfere with anyone that is in the process of voting.
Do they have ID?
They will have a certificate that is issued to them by the County Board of Elections that gives them certification as a certified watcher.
And how many watchers can each campaign have?
Each campaign or committee can have 2 watchers per polling location, per division, I'm sorry.
Per division,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, and we know that within a single polling location, there could be several divisions.
Yeah, so, theoretically, you could have quite a number of watchers at these polling locations where there are multiple divisions. But we want people to remember to maintain social distance. If anybody feels intimidated or impeded in any way in their ability to vote, they should contact the district attorney's hotline or let somebody know that's there from the commissioner staff. There will be plenty of eyes and ears on the ground tomorrow to make sure that Philadelphians are able to cast their vote freely and fairly.
Are poll watchers allowed to say anything to the voter in the polling place?
No, poll watchers cannot have any kind. They cannot impede a voter while they're in the process inside the polling area, in any form.
Mm-hmm. So all their communication should then be with the judge of elections or those who are in charge of the polling place.
Yes, or with the voters on the outside.
They can talk to voters on the outside.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we are approached by someone who says that they are a poll watcher, I mean, you know, how do we know? I mean, can we ask them to show us their certificate?
You can ask the judge to see their certificate. Only the judge of elections can have the poll watcher show their certificate, but the judge can do that at any time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so who's going to be there to make sure that there's not, you know, problems at the polls? Is the DA's team going to have folks out? Who's going to be there to make sure there aren't problems at the polls?
The district attorney's office has their election protection unit that has already been activated, and they will be on the street tomorrow. In addition, the commissioner's office will have additional staff out on the street to make sure that people are able to vote freely and fairly. There's a large operation that's underway to make sure that Philadelphians are able to vote in a free and fair way, and certainly nobody should feel any type of intimidation or pressure in their when they're making their voice heard and they're casting their vote.
Mm-hmm. Now, during the last presidential election, I remember there was a gentleman in the polling place, and I asked him, "Who are you?" Because I never saw him before. He said he was a certified poll watcher. The judge of elections said he was a certified poll watcher. But we didn't have anybody outside. So this is the first time I'm hearing that they can say something to you while you're outside. I mean, what is it that they would be saying to voters outside the polling place?
Vote for John Smith or whoever they're working for.
I see. Okay. Which is common outside the polling place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like normally Republican and Democratic committee members are typically watchers.
Mm-hmm.
People that work for candidates or committees, as I said, are watchers. So that's the usual activity that you see outside the polling place.
Got it. Okay. If people have additional questions about voting, what number should they call? What website should they go to?
Absolutely. They should visit www.philadelphiavotes.com for all their answers to their election questions. If they can't find an answer, they can call our office at 215-686-3460. As you know, the call volume has been more than our office can really handle. So 311 has helped pick up the slack on our phones.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're unable to answer the voters' question, they will take a message, and we are calling people back.
All right. That is City Commissioner Lisa Dealey. I want to thank you so much for all your help throughout this election process, and we will certainly stay in touch through Election Day and beyond. So, Commissioner Dealey, thank you so much for calling in today on WURD.
Thank you, and everyone go vote. Thanks.
All right, take care. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk to you. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
And good morning. This report's sponsored by United Healthcare. Delays heavy southbound 95. You're jammed from Cottman Avenue down through Bridge, through construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard. Northbound not bad. Westbound Vine heavy 95 right up through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound, you're going to find that jam from University through 30th through Work. Again, City out to Belmont. Eastbound delays. Blue Route to Belmont. Again, the Boulevard in through Girard. 55 northbound. That's a jam from Deptford into 42. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans come with a lot to take advantage of. Visit AdvantageWow.com to learn more. That's AdvantageWow.com to learn more about United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. For more traffic information, log on to SIGALert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
This year has been unprecedented. From the COVID pandemic to nationwide protests addressing systemic racism and calling for criminal justice reform. For weeks, we've been reminding you to make your voice heard in this election. And now is the time to act. Voting is how we empower our communities. And this election day, we can make things happen for us instead of letting things happen to us. So use your power and make your plan to vote today. If you signed up to vote by mail, don't wait. Complete your ballot, put it in the small envelope and seal it. Then put it in a larger envelope and seal that too. Sign and date it. Then drop off your ballot at your county election office today. If you have not signed up to vote by mail, go to the polls on Tuesday, November 3rd. Make sure to confirm your polling location and don't forget to wear a mask. Polling places are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. To find your county election office or polling location, visit votespa.com. Take your power to the polls and vote. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
Millennials are known for many things, but did you know that they are currently on track to have worse mental and physical health than the generations that came before them? The Economy League of Greater Philadelphia is challenging our communities to change that with the Well City Challenge. This community-led competition puts the power in your hands to help shape how we address major health challenges across our region, with an emphasis on inclusion and collaboration. So if you care about the health of your community, bring them innovative ideas they need to turn this challenge into opportunities for the millennial generation. Visit economyleague.org to apply today for a chance to compete for $100,000 in prizes and investments. The Well City Challenge is presented by Independence Blue Cross.
Remember when Trump defended neo-Nazis?
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Or downplayed the coronavirus?
It's going to disappear one day. It's like a miracle.
It's time to fire politicians who failed us and elect leaders who will fight systemic racism, have a plan to beat the coronavirus, and will address bias in our healthcare system. This election, remember whose side Trump is on, not yours. Request a ballot now. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it. Paid for by the NAACP.
Want the latest in Word swag?
Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black.
Talk media.
According to the radical left, Kathy Barnett isn't supposed to exist, let alone be a candidate for United States Congress. See, Kathy Barnett is a black woman and a conservative. She spent 10 years in the Armed Forces Reserves. Kathy doesn't fit the victimhood mentality the left is selling. She grew up poor, and despite the odds against her, she built a good life. She loves America, and that's why she's running for Congress. Kathy Barnett not only exists, she lives the American dream.
I'm Kathy Barnett, and I approve this message.
Hey, Mama, you calling me for a change? You and Daddy all right?
We're fine. Can't your mama call and check on her babies and get a little advice?
You know you can. What do you need help with?
Well, despite COVID-19, you know I'm not letting anything stop your father and I from voting this year. But we're here in Pennsylvania. Should we go to our precinct as usual? What's the best way?
You mean I get to be Mama for a minute? All you have to do is go to aarp.org/election2020.
That's my favorite site, and they have a lot of information about the pandemic.
You only text me the website 3 times, but they have all the reliable, up-to-date voting information for voters 50 plus in every state. Want me to text it to you?
Girl, I know. It's aarp.org/election2020.
Well, me being your mama didn't last long.
That's 'cause I'll always be your mama.
Yes, ma'am.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. We're taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Let's go with Rosalind from Kensington on line 1. Good morning.
Good morning, Word family and Corey. I'm calling in reference to, I have a telephone number if anyone needs advice from north, south, east, or west, her name is Miss Valerie. The telephone number is 267-736-7468. Again, that's 267-736-7468. I advise everyone, just like Solomon's telling you, they're coming out the woodwork. It's a shame that I know the Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in politics, but this is not the time. We need your votes. There's a lot of Muslims don't vote. We need your votes. So for all the people in America, especially Philadelphia, get off your butt, stop waiting on them checks, and get back to work. And the first work is push that button. I love you and my WRC fam. And everybody become a member. Oh, Solomon, my son just got 12,000 square feet at Front in Wyoming. It's called UE Radio. So we will be hiring. Well, they will, because I ain't doing that. No, I'm sitting back. But if anybody I can help, I will help. And as far as Kensington is concerned, people just don't want to work. They just don't want to work. But you got a lot of homeowners down here, and they say back in the day, black people wasn't even allowed over here. So I'm saying to my people that's over here, black and brown, get off your butts and go to work.
I hear you, and I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. And I'm going to go back to the phone lines. Let's talk to Z from Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Z.
Hi, Solomon. I am calling about the Best TV Dad.
Yeah.
And I am voting for Uncle Phil Banks.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that, Z, and thank you for your vote this morning. So we got to vote for Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil catching up. All right. So I want to hear what y'all got to say. Of course, last week we had James Evans versus George Jefferson. James Evans ran away with it. This week it is Uncle Phil versus Dr. Huxtable. So I want to know what you guys think. Who you got, Uncle Phil or Dr. Huxtable? 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's go to Mia from Southwest on line 3. Go ahead, Mia.
Hi, good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
I was trying to call in while you had Commissioner Dealey on the phone, because when I looked up my voter status, it had me listed as inactive. Why? I have no idea. So what I'm trying to find out is if I'm able to go to my polling place and place a provisional ballot and then let them work out the kinks later as far as, why I'm listed as inactive or what that even means. I have no idea what that means.
Where did you go to check?
I'm sorry?
What website did you go to check?
I went to Omar Sabir had given out a website, over the last couple of weeks. I believe it's philavotes.com or .org or whatever. But I went to whatever website they've been giving out. And again, I believe it was philavotes.com. And I went on there, and they said, you could look up your voting status. And I did that. And it had all my information listed, but then it said inactive. And I'm like, why would they have me listed as inactive? And I voted in every single election, recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why I'm listed as inactive.
Okay.
But I guess my question is, even in the event that I am listed as, and they have me down as inactive, can I go to my polling place, do the provisional ballot, and have my vote counted?
You should be able to do that. But I'll ask that question, so continue to listen, okay?
Okay, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
your call. 215-634-8065. Jane from Southwest is on line 4. Good morning. Good morning, Jane. Okay, Jane from West Philly? All right, Jane from West is gone. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Let's go to Shaquille on line 2. Go ahead.
Good morning, Solomon. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored. I'm living, I'm breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Phil. I'm going with Philip Banks on the Fresh Prince.
Okay. All right.
And
all right. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. So, again, Uncle Phil, he's not playing, he's catching up a little bit. All right, so you got Dr. Huxtable. He's still leading by just a little bit, but Uncle Phil catching up. So I want to know what you think. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are, any of these things we're talking about on this morning show. Of course, there's a lot going on, including the election. The election, of course, coming up tomorrow. And so have you voted? Did you make your plan to vote? What are you going to do about voting? Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. You can also, of course, weigh in on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. Have you voted? Are you making a plan to vote? And here's the other thing. We started the Black Dad Olympics last week, right? Best Black TV Dad. We started with James Evans versus George Jefferson. James Evans ran away with it. Well, today it's Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air versus Dr. Huxtable from the Cosby Show. I want to know what you think. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Let's go to Jerry from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Jerry.
You sound good.
Thank you.
Well, glad you're feeling better, and you're all fired up. Okay.
All right.
I'm going with Dr. Huxtable.
Okay.
Because like somebody said on there, I like the part when he told his son Theo, "This is not your house. No, that ain't your room, because this ain't your house." So I like that. He didn't play. And about the money. This ain't your money, okay? But I'm going to vote in person. I'm going to go around there. I had a couple people that was scared and everything. I said, look, I don't like this. I ain't trying to have nobody bashing my head in, but I remember what our ancestors went through. So, I don't believe all that hype. One thing we got to remember, voters, that Republicans always use scare tactics. Second, when they trying to get a second term, they always do that. But so voters, get out, stop being scared. We are survivors. No matter what, we are survivors. Okay, have a blessed day.
All right, you too. Thank you so much for your call this morning. Let's go to Gail from the Northeast on line 3. Go ahead, Gail.
Good morning, Solomon. And I just have to say, I am going with Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable, and I've been watching all his shows on Prime TV, and it just reminds me how important family is to us, and it's amazing. But I'm going to go vote tomorrow in person because I have my ballot here, and I'm taking it with me. I want to be counted. I want them to hear my voice. Thank you.
I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Of course, folks also weighing in on Facebook at onWURD, FORWURD. That's FORWURD. We got a couple of folks weighing in. Tanya Bryant says, President Obama was the first time I have ever volunteered for election, so this time I have volunteered as a poll worker. And you got one more comment from some other folks. Sonia Marie says, best TV dad, Dr. Huxtable. So we're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with lawyer and critical race theorist Dr. Tim Golden about the Tamir Rice case that the Justice Department dropped without even letting the family know. We got to talk about that and some of the ins and outs of that and what it actually means. Dr. Tim Golden on the other side. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Voting is power. The power to elect candidates who won't treat coronavirus like a joke. The power to invest in black communities. The power to create an economy that works for everyone. The power to invest in education and job training. And the power to replace Trump. Make a plan to vote today. Our lives depend on it.
Paid for by AFSCME People, which is responsible for the content of this ad. AFSCMEPeople.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Everyone has a different journey to their vote, but we all take the same steps. If you want to vote, register by October 19th. If you want to vote by mail, apply now and mail your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. Or bring it to a satellite election office. If you want to vote in person, go to your polling location on November 3rd. However you want to vote, we'll help you find the way. Visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
Tune into WURD Radio Tuesday, November the 3rd for an Election Day special. You'll get information about polling issues. You'll hear from candidates and some elected officials, as well as lively discussions. That's Tuesday, November the 3rd from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Only on WURD Radio 900 AM and 96.1 FM. This program is being brought to you by the Labor's District Council PAC Fund.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real.
With the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
This program is pre-recorded.
No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURDradio.com.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
During this pivotal election season, your friends at Power Interfaith and Black Clergy of Philadelphia and vicinity want to make sure that no vote is left behind. So if you need a free ride to your polling place, call 844-769-3788. That's 844-POWER-VT. Whether you need to drop off your ballot or vote in person, they'll provide you a clean, safe, and free ride. Just call 844-769-3788. That's 844-POWER-VT. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
Right now, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. AARP Pennsylvania wants to make sure that you know all of your voting options and that all Americans can vote safely, whether they choose to vote from home or in person. To learn more about your voting options, visit aarp.org/PA votes. Paid for by AARP.
Word on Politics. This election day, tune in to Word Radio all day long for up-to-the-minute election day breakdowns and updates with Charles Ellison, beginning at 10 a.m. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live on WordRadio.com, the Word Radio app, and watch live on Word TV via Facebook and YouTube. Word Radio. Independent. Black media.
Backed by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now, Dr. Tim Golden, professor of philosophy, legal studies program coordinator, and director of the Donald Blake Center for the Study of Race, Ethnicity, and Culture at Walla Walla University. For 20 years, he was a criminal defense attorney in Philadelphia and in the federal courts. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. Thank you for having me with you today.
Yep, it's a pleasure. So I wanted to ask you about the Tamir Rice case, because that case, apparently the Justice Department stopped the investigation like sometime last year, but they didn't draft a memo to explain why it declined to indict anyone. And the Justice Department also didn't tell the Rice family or the public that it will not charge the police officer. What's going on with this case, and is this unusual?
Well, Solomon, I think that if on this election day eve, if there's anybody who thinks that presidential elections don't matter, just consider this, that in 2014, when Tamir Rice was shot and killed, not long after, the Obama administration initiated an investigation into that shooting and undertook the task over and above a number of other incidents, including Michael Brown's shooting, which occurred a few months before Tamir Rice, that would lead to reports on policing in cities like Ferguson, Missouri, Chicago, Illinois, where Laquan McDonald was shot and killed, and Baltimore, where Freddie Gray was killed. And so it's under the Obama Justice Department that it was discovered that the shooting death of Tamir Rice reflected a deeper problem with the Cleveland Police Department. One of the problems was that Officer Lohman, who shot and killed Tamir Rice, had been released or had been fired or terminated from his prior law enforcement job because he lost his temper during a shooting incident, a firearm incident, right? And there was no way for the Cleveland Police Department to know that because they didn't even look into his prior background before they hired him. So the point I'm making here is that the Obama administration initiated a series of oversight initiatives from its Justice Department that begins to uncover the systemic racism that you so often hear about today. And the problem with that is that was what the Obama administration did. The Trump administration has taken a very opposite approach, right? Despite the fact that in the past several years, I think 96% of the people who have been shot and killed by police have been black men, and many of those black men have been unarmed. One of the first things that the Trump administration did when it took office nearly 4 years ago was to say, we're going to take down the Ferguson report, the report from Chicago, and the report from Baltimore. We're going to take those Justice Department reports down from the DOJ website. So those reports are no longer accessible through that medium anymore. So what I'm saying is, as we prepare to vote, as many people have already voted, and as many people prepare to vote for tomorrow, remember that who the president is, will drive a lot of the discussion, because each president's policies toward what they see are important law enforcement objectives are going to be very different. It's just not a priority to the Trump administration to investigate these incidents. And I suppose that you could argue that it is normal for a president to do this sort of thing if these types of shootings are not a priority to him. It's just not a priority to the president. So I'm not surprised that the president would have this investigation terminated. It certainly doesn't make him look good politically. And from what we can see of this president, so much of his decision making is driven by what's going to help him or what's going to hurt him as it relates to his base,
Yeah.
So it's not really surprising that this will terminate. If you remember correctly, Solomon, in the first days of his administration, when Jeff Sessions was his attorney general, one of the things that Jeff Sessions did was go to court to try to get the consent decree with the Baltimore Police Department invalidated.
That's right.
And instead, what Jeff Sessions said the priority had to be was not oversight of police departments, but rather oversight of colleges and university admissions policies that were geared toward affirmative action.
Yeah.
So, if you think elections don't matter, and if you think presidential public policies don't matter, then don't vote, right? But they do matter. So it's going to affect you one way or the other. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that this ended without that it ended under the radar, because it's just not a priority to this administration.
Yeah, no, it's not. And the interesting thing is that, like, they did it real sneaky. So the career prosecutors in the Justice Department wanted to use a grand jury to investigate that 2014 shooting of Tamir Rice, and the Justice Department rejected that bid to use a grand jury to investigate that shooting, and that sparked a whistleblower complaint. And it's interesting to me that this is coming out now just a few days before the election, because this might help Trump with his base. Now, it might hurt him, with folks like me or you, but this might help him with his base. Yeah, that's right. Don't investigate that. We stand with our police no matter what they do to black people. And the timing is unusual, Tim.
The timing is unusual, and I'm not surprised that it happened when it happened. What I'll say this, if this is a result of President Trump's, political calculation, if this was something that came straight from the top and he told the Attorney General, look, you got to make this go away because I got to be the law and order guy, the tough crime guy, that's fine. But politically, it remains to be seen whether or not this is really a base election. I mean, in other words, does this move just help Trump preach to the choir, right? Or is this something that's going to help him persuade independent voters to come vote for him? I mean, that's something that remains to be seen. I don't know, but it's certain. The timing certainly is suspicious, and we'll have to see what happens with it. But it's interesting, Solomon, when I think about the nature of the 911 call in the Tamir Rice case.
Yeah,
it was a call of a person with a gun. Now think about that for a minute. In April, in Michigan, there were about 100 people with guns who went to the State House and who intimidated the governor and who recently plotted to assassinate the governor. So if you just think about Tamir Rice is in the park by himself playing with a toy gun, and the car pulls up, and within seconds, he's shot and killed.
Yeah.
Here you have you have multiple people with guns. I don't know the exact number, but there's a lot more than one kid in the park by himself playing with a toy gun.
Right.
You have literally maybe 100 times that amount of people in Michigan who show up with guns, and the only difference is that, and those people are allowed to protest under the banner of the Second Amendment. Those people actually probably had live rounds in those weapons, and there was no 911 call, persons with guns. There was no sense of urgency to police them because they were exercising their Second Amendment rights. And the only difference between them and Tamir Rice was that they were white, and Tamir Rice was a young black boy. A 12-year-old boy in the park by himself is a person with a gun that gets a 911 call and gets him shot within about 2 seconds. And yet, way more people than that are armed with real guns in public, going to the State House, and they're styled as protesters. The latter group is white. Tamir Rice was black. This is the world we live in, Solomon.
It is the world we live in, and I see it over and over and over again with this inequity in the way that our communities are policed, and that is at the core of the problem. It's a race problem. It really is, and until we really just admit that and deal with that reality, I don't see how we solve it.
I don't see how we solve it either, Solomon. Here's another stark contrast to Tamir Rice. Kyle Rittenhouse. He shoots and kills 2 people. He gets into his car, he crosses state lines. He commits 2 counts of homicide. And he walks right past police, who sort of cheer him on, right? What's the difference between Kyle Rittenhouse and Tamir Rice? Kyle Rittenhouse is white. Tamir Rice is black. Tamir Rice is in the park by himself with a toy. And I mean, it gets more infuriating the more that you think about it, right? Because you can point to one instance after another where whites who are armed with weapons that have live rounds, that intend to use them, and that do use them, and that actually kill people, are allowed to walk away from live crime scenes while a little boy in the park playing with a toy gun alone, and who's potentially risking harm to no one, is shot and killed. And there's something wrong with our perception of these events. So in philosophy, we often talk about perception, and we talk about the fancy word is epistemology. We talk about how we know the world, how we perceive the world, the kinds of things we consider to be true and accurate. And because of racism, there's something, because racism is a moral disorder, it's a moral disease, there's something wrong with when we see a Kyle Rittenhouse, and when we see him as a white person, we don't impute the concept of criminality to him. We automatically presume that he's justified in what he's doing, and we automatically presume, because when we see Tamir Rice, that he's criminal and up to no good. And that's where the work has to be done. Yes, we must push for legal reform. We must continue to work on these very important legal questions, and we have to do that. But if we don't, as you said a moment ago, Solomon, if we don't address the racial issues, and those are issues that really the legal system can deal with in some capacity, but people have to examine themselves and begin to ask themselves, why do I assume that Kyle Rittenhouse and Michigan protesters are okay, and I automatically assume that a 12-year-old boy with a gun is a criminal, with a toy gun is a criminal? Why is that, right? And until we get to the bottom of that question, sadly, we're going to continue to see the proliferation of this sort of violence against black people at the hands of state actors. And it's really just, I mean, to say it's unacceptable is really too weak. It's tragic. It's wrong. It's just very sad.
It is. That's Dr. Tim Golden. He's a lawyer and critical race theorist, professor of philosophy, legal studies program coordinator, and director of the Donald Blake Center for the Study of Race, Ethnicity, and Culture at Walla Walla University. For 20 years, he was a criminal defense attorney in Philadelphia and in the federal courts. Tim, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Solomon. Take care.
All right. All right. You too. So I want to hear from you. We got a couple of minutes. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. You can also hit us on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD. That's FORWURD. That is where you can weigh in on Facebook and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. So let's see. We got a couple of things that that people have said this morning on Facebook, and I'm trying to get to some of those. Nope, not that one. Already did that. Let's see. Sandra Field says this man on Nextdoor voted for someone I never heard of. He doesn't like Biden because of what he did a long time ago, and he does not like the police. Well, you know, I think people have to do what they have to do in terms of their vote. You had a lot of wasted votes last year on, not last year, the last presidential election on third-party candidates. And frankly, those votes helped Donald Trump to win in Pennsylvania and in some of those other states that he won. And so we just have to bear that in mind and just recognize that wasting your vote on a candidate that cannot win in this instance really is a vote for Trump. Let's go to Ken from Center City on line 1. Hey, Ken.
Hey, Solomon, how you been?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, staying busy. I'm listening, but I can't always call.
Okay.
I just want to cover 3 things very briefly, if I may.
Sure.
The first thing is, I don't know how many people know, but the unions here in Philadelphia started a caravan yesterday morning where they have 7 double-decker buses taking people to polling places to drop off their votes. Mm-hmm. They're going to be doing it through Election Day. Mm-hmm. I don't know if people are aware of that.
Okay.
But that's important. And they started in North Philly yesterday morning around 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to go on through election. And it's done with the Democratic vote in mind. Okay.
Okay.
The next thing is, a person asked this morning, how did we get this way? I was headed to an appointment. We got this way because we didn't vote, and you and I talked about it, and you and I railed on this station about the importance of voting.
Yep.
And how it was a state-by-state election. And you know, and the truth of the matter is, you know, 40,000 people in Philadelphia could have carried the election for Clinton. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to get mad and hold, you know, we wanted to get mad because we didn't like a person. Mm-hmm. And the other party said, well, if we don't vote for Trump, Hillary's going to win. We didn't take that attitude. We didn't say if we don't vote for Hillary, Trump's going to win. Half of the people, well, that's an exaggeration, said, I'm just sitting this one out. Mm. And now you see the result of sitting this one out. You know, and I don't understand how people can be glad and skinning and grinning because we got a check that was our money in the first place that Donald Trump delayed on purpose so he could put his signature on the check so he would think the check came from him.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, you know, that's a sleight of hand. That's the okie doke.
Yeah.
And that's more, you know, and how you can have people like, you know, you going to take political advice from Lil Wayne? I mean, I'm very serious.
I mean, it's hilarious on his face.
Yes.
You know, have you ever seen Lil Wayne interviewed? Like, this dude.
I heard it.
Oh, man. You're right, though. You're right. You're right.
And a little bitty thing like, you know, Trump with one person, I mean, got the lady out of jail. I'm very thankful. Mm-hmm. But they take that one little thing and they blow it up and they forget about how he insulted the lady whose husband got killed and was left on the battlefield.
Yeah.
He didn't even know her name. And then people denied that he was rude to her when they had the recording.
Yeah, that was LaDavid Johnson.
I knew the virus was airborne, but I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And 230,000 people are dead. Come on, man.
I know.
I mean, because you and I had this conversation. You know, you and I agreed. We talked about voting in 2013 when Obama won his second term. Mm-hmm. You know, we were telling people they're already campaigning against Hillary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, we felt for it, and like I said, we feeling the burn. Everybody was for Bernie and didn't vote. They're feeling the burn now.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, all of that, and we need to remember that very recent history. Ken, it's really good to hear from you always. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we are going to talk with Senator Vincent Hughes. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
There's a pressing need to strengthen pathways to better jobs in communities of color. That's why Bank of America is investing $1 billion to advance racial equality and economic opportunity.
I'm Jim Dever, Greater Philadelphia Market President for Bank of America. We've partnered with Coded by Kids to connect people to new skills and employment opportunities. It's just one way we're taking action in Greater Philadelphia right now.
Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Livelihood, the new initiative from WURD Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey.
Work, 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 work. You see me, I be work.
Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
New Voices for Reproductive Justice is registering Black women and their families in Philly to vote. The general election is on November 3rd. You can register to vote online at rock.vote/New Voices. That's rock.vote/New Voices. The deadline to register is October 19th. If you need assistance registering to vote, visit newvoicesrj.org.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
Hi, I'm Tobias Harris. We've been hashtagging and protesting, but this November, we can show the system what time it is. We've been victims of police brutality, stop and frisk, and other forms of harassment. On November 3rd, we take our power back. This year, everything changes. We can vote to end stop and frisk and put police accountability in the hands of the people. It's on us. On November 3rd, vote to make our communities safer and our systems fairer.
Paid for by Black Vote PA, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.theelectionisnow.com.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check on WURD. Are you a Philly area voter who received your mail-in ballot but suddenly decided you want to vote in person? If you return your complete ballot to the county election office by October 27th, you may not vote in person on election day. However, if you don't return your complete mail-in ballot to your county before October 27th, you can go to a polling place, surrender your unvoted ballot and voter's declaration envelope, sign a statement, and vote on the machines. Keep following us at onWURD on Twitter, Facebook.com/4WURD, and hashtag WordOnPolitics for constant updates on election 2020. And remember, vote early.
Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com. It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is Pennsylvania State Senator Vincent Hughes. He represents the 7th Senatorial District in the state of Pennsylvania. Good morning, Senator Hughes. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Solomon. How you feeling, brother?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Good.
I'm feeling much better than I was. Thank you for asking. So, and I'm fired up because tomorrow is Election Day. So, you are running a Jammin' bus tour around voting tomorrow. What's going on with that?
So like we're pulling out all the stops, right? All the stops to get everybody to come out to vote, and folks, just go do it. We got every reason to do it. Every reason's been provided for us to go ahead and vote. But so now we're adding a little excitement, a little juice to the program. We're partnering with Rodney McLeod, who did a little something last night in the football game. Thank you, Rodney. Rodney and his wife Erica McLeod, and their foundation called Change the Future Foundation, and they got the Jammin' Bus Tour coming to Philadelphia. All right. Going to be traveling all around Philly, starting in South Philly, going to Southwest Philly, going to West Philly, going up to the Northwest, going to North Philly, to make sure that there's some excitement on Election Day and motivating people to come out to vote. And it's being sponsored by Saxby's, and of course Jeff Brown's Family Shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going to have a lot of Eagles on the bus. Going to have a lot of Eagles on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good thing. Always better after they win. Have a lot of Philadelphia Eagles on the bus, and just going to be out in the community, getting folks excited about voting, stopping off at some polling places and things like that to provide some food to the poll workers and the folks standing in line and what have you. Just trying to make this as much of a positive experience as possible. DJ Diamond Cut, they say he's the man, okay, with the music. So that's going to be happening. It's going to be jamming all over the city. And we're just encouraging folks to look out for it, get caught up in the excitement of voting, hear the music, see the Eagles, see all of our great co-sponsors. And just, if you want to know more about it, where we're going to be, what time we're going to be, text Philly Votes, PHILLYVOTES, to 41411, and there will be all the information will be provided to you. But, Solomon,
well, this is what I want to know, and this is what the listeners want to know. Can they get on the bus?
No.
They can't get on the
bus. Can't get on the bus. The
Okay.
bus is going to stop at some locations. You'll be able to, interact with, socially appropriately, right? Because we got a surge in the pandemic, another reason why we got to vote, okay?
Yeah.
We got a surge going on, and we got to make sure that everybody is safe and do the right thing, all right? But the music will be jamming. It's going to be extremely loud, so you'll be able to hear the bus coming through your neighborhood. And just join in and just get excited about the whole idea of voting. All right?
So I heard you say something about some food was going to be on the bus.
Yeah, they tell me that we'll be at these various locations we're going to be stopping at, and that's why you got to text Philly Votes to 41411 if you get some of that information. We're going to be recognizing the voters who stand in the line. We're going to be recognizing, the folks at the polling locations, providing some sustenance to them, maybe some water, some coffee, because we got Saxby's, right? So, we got to have a coffee, all right?
Okay. All right.
And, we're just going to try to make this as positive as experience as possible. We've been suffering so much during this pandemic, and we've been suffering so much during the reign of Donald Trump in these last 4 years that, we need to make this fun, make this exciting, get people enthused about it, and get people pumped up about voting, and also, that we're staying focused on the mission at hand because every vote's also got to get counted. So that's what this whole program is about. And it should be exciting. It should be fun. Watch out for the Jammin' Bus Tour coming through your neighborhood because we're going to be making a lot of noise. and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun, man.
Sounds good. That is State Senator Vincent Hughes. He represents the 7th Senatorial District. He's partnering with Erica and Rodney McLeod, who returned a fumble for a touchdown last night to beat those hated Cowboys for the Jam and Bus Tour. That's going to be all around the city tomorrow, so check that out. Senator Hughes, thanks for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thanks, brother. Keep putting out that good information, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, so we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. You can, of course, also hit us on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD, and let us know where you are in these various things we are talking about on this morning show. You know that Joe Biden was here yesterday. He was at Sharon Baptist Church out in West Philadelphia for a Souls to the Polls event. And today there's going to be a Souls to the Polls virtual rally with Senator Kamala Harris. It's hosted by State Representative Dan Williams from Chester. So you can check that out today. I believe that's happening from 2 to 2:45 p.m. today. I'll see if I can get you some more information about it, but that's happening today. It's a virtual Souls to the Polls rally that's happening with Senator Kamala Harris, hosted by State Representative Dan Williams out of Chester, Pennsylvania. So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation. I made a mistake. He's from Coatesville, and I should know that. But we appreciate State Representative Dan Williams. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Looking for some Facebook comments as well. And so we want to hear from you on Facebook at onWURD, FORWURD. That's FORWURD. And let us know where you are in these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. Carlos Gibson says this: I will be turning to Big 5-1 this November 4th, the day after the election. Of course, that's Carlos from Nicetown, so we appreciate you, and thank you for sharing that. Happy birthday to you as well. Let's see. We got a comment from, okay, that's the one I just read, from Walter Davis, who says, reminder, if you anticipate a future of hope, if you have not yet, tomorrow you must vote. So that's from him. And then you got Kimberly Coleman Gade, who says this: leave Lil Wayne and 25 cents right where they are. I can't take political advice from someone who brags about being high all the time and an internet troll. I'm just saying. And you know what? I'm just saying too. Amen. Let's see. Norma Williams says this: the Attorney General is corrupt, just as the Judicial Conduct Board. I made complaints on the judges that made rulings on my civil lawsuit cases. And then you have Eric Deloach, who says, I do question, why is it that we as black people got to make everything a party? This is about business and being serious, but it is what it is, I guess. If that's what you need, a little bit of dance, a little shake your butt to get you to vote, then that's what you need. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing about black people. We have been through so much in this country, horrific things that really our elders don't even want to talk about, right? That humor has allowed us to get through, that music has allowed us to get through, that laughter has allowed us to get through, that, making our own fun in crazy and insane and violent and hurtful and hateful situations like this is what's got us through. So that's why we are the way we are. You understand? Like it's a survival mechanism. That, and when I went to Africa, dance and music is such a key part of our culture, a key part of how we communicate, a key part of who we are, that you can't take it out of anything. Even in the most serious moments, man, black folk will find a way to have some laughter, to have some fun, to have some joy, because we live in a place where you have folks who are dedicated to taking our joy away. And so it is a survival mechanism for us, but it is also something that is deeply entrenched in who we are culturally. And so there's nothing wrong with us dancing. There's nothing wrong with us having a party. There's nothing wrong with us having some joy, some laughter, right? That's what we do in order to survive, in order to thrive in the midst of a place that's trying to kill us. Like, I can't put it any plainer than that. One of the things that I saw that I thought was great was one of the polling places, right? One of the satellite locations, rather, where people could go and turn in their mail-in ballot. It was a line, so black folks started line dancing, you know what I mean, while waiting to go in and vote. And we have to make our own joy in a society that is designed to take that joy away, that is designed to try to keep you in a deficit position, that is designed to try to make you into a second-class citizen. Like, nah, we gotta laugh. You know what I mean? We gotta dance. We gotta have joy, because that's who we are culturally, and that is how we survive. So we are going to go to break. On the other side, I see we got a bank full of calls, so we're going to take those calls on the other side. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065, and we're going to do What's Trending. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
The pandemic is not only putting everyone's health at risk, it's also impacted our jobs and retirement security. And it's disproportionately affecting African Americans, especially those 50+. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. And if you choose to vote by mail, make sure you return your ballot using both envelopes. Your ballot goes in the smaller envelope for secrecy, and that goes into the larger envelope for mailing. Also, don't forget to sign the voter declaration on the back. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/PA votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/PA votes today. Paid for by AARP.
Monday through Thursday, keep it locked to WURD Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with the Power Hour, hosted by Bishop Dwayne Royster and Reverend Mark Kelly Tyler. At 7, it's Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones. At 10 a.m., it's Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Then at 1 p.m., it's The Source, hosted by Andrea Lawful Sanders on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Black Women's Leadership Council on Wednesdays. At 4 p.m., it's Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Then at 7, it's Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. At 9 p.m., round up your day with Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keep your dial locked
to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
Always Best Care is a great place to work. Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Did you get an eviction notice before the shutdown? Are you looking for a lawyer once the moratorium ends? There's so many questions with so little time. Let Equally Informed Philly find the answers for you. Just text the phrase Equal Info to the number 73224. Again, that's Equal Info, one word, to 73224. Their community information line will get the answers you need to survive in the time of COVID-19. Equally Informed Philly for all Philadelphians.
What you get for your vote is important. For decades, Democrats like Joe Biden have taken our votes for granted. They have promised us a better future and never delivered. What did our votes for Biden get us? He wrote the 1994 crime bill that put millions of black men in prison for nonviolent crimes and a sluggish economy that left our communities behind. What does a vote for President Trump and his Platinum Plan get you? A contract with Black America that prioritizes black economic empowerment, 3 million new jobs for the black community, 500,000 new black-owned businesses, an increase in access to capital in black communities by almost $500 billion, better and cheaper health care, more education opportunities, and continued historic improvements to our criminal justice system. A vote for Biden gets you the same failed policies we've seen for decades. But with President Trump, the best is yet to come.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD. Circuits are busy. Here's what's trending.
Yo, that's crazy.
On Wake Up with Word.
Senator Cory Booker and RuPaul are cousins. RuPaul participated in the latest season of the PBS series Finding Your Roots, which explores the DNA of American culture by analyzing DNA to trace celebrities' ancestry. RuPaul and Booker, who was on season 1 of the series, share a long stretch of identical DNA. And Ciara and Russell Wilson are the latest celebrities to fund a charter school, a move they say extends the couple's philanthropic commitment to education through their Why Not You Foundation, a nonprofit aimed at improving education access. Wilson and Ciara will provide $1.75 million to help revamp the Cascade Midway Academy just south of Seattle. And finally, international superstar Beyonce is gracing the cover of not just one, but 3 versions of British Vogue for the magazine's December issue. In her interview with British Vogue's editor-in-chief, the mother of 3 talks about her family, her artistry, and how the Black Lives Matter movement has helped her evolve her perspective on life and her purpose. And that is what's trending. You can, of course, weigh in on Facebook at onWURD, that's FORWURD, and you can give us a call at 215-634-8065. So we're talking about that, and of course a number of other things. One of the things that we're talking about is the Black Dad Olympics. Now last week we talked about James Evans versus George Jefferson. James Evans ran away with it. This week the question is, which one is the best black dad between Uncle Phil and Dr. Huxtable? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. And, of course, tomorrow is Election Day. Have you voted? Have you made a plan to vote? Are you planning to take other people to vote? I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. Let's go with Will Mega from West Philly on line 1. Good morning.
Solomon, what's up?
What's up, man?
Today's the last day of why black men should vote. After
okay, let's hear it.
We jamming at the polls.
Mm.
So a few things. One of your callers, I want to I do want to speak to something you're talking about in terms of music and the power of music and our people and the seriousness of it all. Immediately when he brought up the music and you responded, I thought about the Adinkra symbol called the Akobin. The Akobin is the war horn. The definition of that war horn is a call to action, readiness, preparedness in war. We think about the African drum. It wasn't just a dance. Sometimes it was a call to war. And so it's a gathering of people to get that that vibranium in us to get ready to go to action in war. But why black men should vote? When we go back to how Donald Trump got into office, in particular, I'm talking to Pennsylvanians, it wasn't just that black men or black people weren't voting. It was more so that white women Democrats shifted sides. And so the point is, when we look at those numbers, we can see in Northeast Philadelphia, all over Roxborough, Manayunk right now, there's tons of Trump signs. And the numbers will show us that white Democrats in Philadelphia, in particular white women, have been voting for Trump. And so my point is this. We look at the fire union, the police union, full of white men who are influencing their white wives to go Trump, even though they may be registered Democrat. We're all we got. And the X factor, as we've seen over the last month, is both sides lobbying black men with popular black male political, social media, entertainment icons to deal with the X factor. And so it's very important for us to get out the vote, because ultimately right now, the voter bloc that has never truly been engaged is the black man, and the black man can't depend on anyone else to determine the outcome of this election. I do want to talk about your real quick, your fathers.
Yeah, very quickly.
Very,
which one you got?
For both of them, I'm going with a tie. I'm not pitting one black man versus the other.
Oh, come on, man. It's not pitting. It's not pitting. It's not pitting one against the other. It's which one is the best dad in your view. They fictional characters.
Look at George Jefferson.
Yeah.
He did everything we want a black man to do, to move on up.
Yeah, he
to come
did.
out of the hood, right? To do for self and get his own business.
Right.
To stay committed and loving to his wife. To see that his son would have a education and do right. But we keep forgetting, as we talk about how hardcore James was, we forget about that George Jefferson who was up in the face of Archie Bunker every time he had a chance, calling him on his racism.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't forget that one.
Okay.
But the reason why I go with a tie is because those black men did the best they could with what they had. So I'm not.
You got it. You got it. I hear you, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. They all had their pluses. That's why I'm like, yo, which one you got? Let's go to Beverly from online too. Go ahead, Beverly.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Solomon, I'm sure you saw the video with the Trump supporters holding up the traffic on the bridge in New York State, how they got out, waving their signs. Solomon, can you imagine if that would have been Black Lives Matter holding up all the traffic on the New York State Thruway? Where were the state police? They were left to do whatever they wanted to do. And one more thing, Solomon.
Yes.
Yesterday I saw an interview with like 4 white seniors, 1 black senior, and the black senior citizen woman said she was voting for Biden because Trump is racist. And all the other white seniors said, no, he's not. No, he's not. And then the black woman said, well, because of him, it's a lot of unarmed black men getting arrested. And one white woman said, that's because they're always doing wrong. That's the way they think, Solomon, and that's why We got to get out and vote. And I go with Huxtable because he was an example of a professional black family. Thank you for taking my call.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Carlos from Nicetown on line 3. Go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, hello, my brother.
Hi.
Yeah, like I said, I'll be 51 Wednesday, but I won't be doing anything too much. Yeah, but
happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. That thing still bothers me, man. When Donald Trump said on the last debate, I am the least, most racist person in the room, I was like, what? Did he really just say that? I said to myself, now, is he admitting he's racist? I mean, look at that black woman and black man that he up free from prison. I wonder what they saying. I'm just wondering, what is they saying about this? I mean, it's like, and then you got that the boy who got shot and killed 2 weeks ago by the cops. His funeral gonna be this Saturday, right?
I'm not sure. I'll look it up.
They said November 7th. Okay. It's gonna be at the same church where they had the emergency meeting that same the day after. And
yeah, it is November 7th.
Yeah, this Saturday. It's a mess, man. This city's in a mess, man. I mean, my God. I'm like this. I'm all waiting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, she gonna be making history just like it was Barack Obama, right?
That's right.
She gonna be making history.
That's right, Carlos. And I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. We certainly appreciate it. Let's go to John G. from West Oak Lane on line 4. Go ahead, John.
Good morning. How are you doing? Look, I'm calling about this registration business and voting. You had a lady earlier that called that state couldn't find any record of her, and I've had the same situation. I go to Vote PA to find out whether you're registered.
Well, if you're not registered at this point, you can't vote.
I am registered and have been voting. They tell you to go to the city. If you go in there, ask for registration. If you go in there to confirm your mail-in ballot, again, they say there's no record at the state level. So now I've called 2 or 3 times and tried to get that corrected. Why on the state level do they show that I'm not a registered voter?
I have no idea, sir.
Call the office in Philadelphia. They call, oh, yeah, you're registered and we got your ballot and so forth.
So wait, because we only got a couple of minutes. So what you're saying is that you are registered and the city has a copy of your registration.
Yes.
But when you call the state, they say they don't.
Right.
So why are you calling the state if you already know that you registered and the city already told you registered?
Well, when you try to I never got an email saying they got my mail-in ballot. So when I did that the first time, I went to the state to see why I hadn't gotten my response for the mail-in ballot.
Okay.
Then I found out, hey, I'm not even in the state records. So that's what started it. And I still haven't gotten any confirmation that they got my mail-in ballot, but that's another issue. So I'm going to file a provisional ballot tomorrow. So why doesn't the state? I've made several calls trying to find out why my name is not on the state records.
Yeah.
I'm 91 years old. I've been voting all my life.
Okay.
So then that lady had the same situation.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, is there some major problem going on, or maybe something going on with black people? I don't know. Something.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Okay. So I have asked that question, and I'll see if I can get an answer, but we only got like a minute left. Sir, I want to thank you so much for your call. Thank you for your years of just living in our community, man. We appreciate you. All right, so if you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. We only got a minute left. You can also weigh in on Facebook, and I'm trying to do all of this stuff at one time, so y'all got to kind of, bear with me. Might not have an answer for that until tomorrow, given that the show is really over. So I appreciate everybody who tuned in on today's show. And, of course, as always, I want to thank all of our guests, including Philadelphia City Commissioner Lisa Dealey, Dr. Timothy Golden, and Senator Vincent Hughes. And now, for producer Jordan Booth, sitting in for Kawesa Mathis, and everyone here at WURD Radio, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for a reality check with Charles Ellison, and tune in tomorrow at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.